is my first ever episode of Musings with Yoyo. Hopefully not my last. And on this episode, my guest was Poppa Eto, my dad. I decided to have him on because usually when he and I talk, it's just everyday business. How are you? Have you prayed? Have you slept? Have you eaten? All those regular things. And I wanted us to just have a conversation, kick back. So we talked a little bit about parenthood, his upbringing, and just reminisce on a few things here and there. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Okay. So I told you, I'm doing like a personal creativity project. Nobody will really be listening to, very few people will be listening to this. But so my project or my challenge for this project was to do a podcast recording of a minimum of 20 minutes on something that I'm interested in. So the reason I decided, I was like, let me interview my dad. Because a lot of times, because I'm very big on family. Family is one of my biggest values.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when you see conversations with people, like if I've seen it in like interviews, will be mom and daughter, and like it's like cute. Or when they'll do father-son interviews, it's usually a father who has abandoned their child and the child is angry and all things. So I was just like, man, that's not how it always is. So like, let me just do a conversation with my dad. And I was like, let me ask some questions that are more fun. Some of them will be fun. Some of them will be like getting to know you. Some of them will be more future thinking like that, but just a conversation. And then I will send it to you when it's done if you want to hear it afterwards. But it's for fun. And maybe in the future after I do this, I'll realize that I'm actually amazing at podcast interviews and I'll do it for the rest of my life, you know? But it's just generally for fun.
Okay, so just to set the scene properly from my side, am I supposed to also ask questions, or you are doing all the questioning?
You can ask questions if you want.
Okay, all right. I just want to be sure so I don't break your plan.
No. You can ask questions if you want.
Okay.
I actually like it if you ask questions, and then it can feel more conversation.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know.
Okay. So I'll ask some questions about like your childhood and all those things and whatever. I have some questions written down, but I might go off in a totally different tangent because, you know, I like to talk.
Okay. Just before you ask your first question, so at the end of the day, so this is a podcast you're doing.
Yeah.
What is the ultimate aim? I mean, I know you said, well, depending on how this one goes, you probably decide to do a few more or whatever. So what's the ultimate aim?
Of my podcast in general, or this
conversation? Yes, of your this one and in general.
So I've always thought, because I'm pretty at work now, I do a lot of like /alumni. So when we have events and we have alumni who are coming to be on a panel or coming to give a talk or things like that, I usually do alumni coaching with them. And part of that alumni coaching is kind of helping them, ask them questions about their career, how all of that kind of stuff play. And then usually from what it is that we talk about, like it helps them think about how they share their stories. So one of the things that I've heard, or one of the pieces of feedback I've heard is, and I usually coach the moderators too. So one of the pieces that I've heard is that I'm pretty good at having conversations and getting people to just talk about whatever topic it is, especially with a moderator who's never asked questions before. So for the first time, because of COVID, we had to do one of our panels as a podcast. And so I coached the moderator on that, and it was really, really well received. So I was like, you know what? I'm very good at conversations. So let me just see if I've always liked talking to people anyway. And I know a lot of people listen to podcasts more and more these days. So I was like, let me just do this for fun. And if I was going to, so this is the title I would do if I was going to do a podcast in the future, it would be called Musings with Yoyo. And it's just Musings.
Okay.
Like musing around or conversation. Because that way it doesn't have to be around a specific theme. It could be any topic, but it will just be like, what's the topic of the year or the month or the day or whatever. And it'll just be a musing. So my musing today is musings about father-daughter relationships, I guess.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah. But most of my questions will actually just be me getting to know you.
Okay, no problem. So
Questions about your life.
in the future, you'll be looking for different people or different
People, groups of
people,
people.
different
Yeah,
topics. Okay, all right.
yeah. Or it might
Okay,
just be one day. It might just be me talking for 30 minutes.
okay, all right.
Yeah. But and I know I can do that. Okay.
Okay, all right.
All
Let's
right.
go
Are
ahead.
you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the first one, it's more about your childhood. What did you want to be when you grew up? Because I know that I'll let you just go. What did you want to be when you grew up? What did you imagine you could be when you grew up?
I don't know if I remember exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up as a child, but definitely I was very academic in nature. So I definitely wanted to be one of the fancy professions, maybe an engineer or a doctor. And I don't think I ever thought of being a lawyer. So that wasn't. I think I was probably more science inclined. So growing up, so I'm actually talking about maybe before I'm talking about pre-teens. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, when I was in high school, I had precisely the direction I wanted to go. So I'm referring to my period before my teens. I think I just wanted to be one of those professions that I respected. In the little village where I grew up, somebody called me. Actually, how did they call it? Clerk. I mean,
Clerk.
yes, because I mean
Why?
that was probably one of the highest positions they could think of. It was actually a hamlet. How many houses were in the place? So a clerk was very respectable, you know.
Yeah.
But then that was their knowledge at that time. So yeah, so I look forward to being one of these fancy professions.
Mm. And so when you 'cause you were saying that when you got to a teenager, you kind of at that point knew where you wanted to go. You knew and you were very direct to where you wanted to go. You didn't change it.
Sure. Yes.
Very
So
interesting.
yes. Okay. All right. I thought you wanted me to say something about that.
No, yeah. Tell me.
Okay. All right. So at that time, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I was more science inclined. So I knew that I was very numerate. I mean, I liked figures. I liked things that bordered on engineering. So from that particular point in my high school, I decided I was going to go for engineering. Whichever branch of engineering really didn't matter much then.
Mm.
But then one thing I did not also want to do was I didn't want to be a doctor. I mean, I had all the grades that would have put me in medical school. My uncle actually wanted me to be a doctor, maybe for
Mm.
his own pride, because he liked me.
Yeah.
I was very proud of my academic performance, but I hated the sight of blood.
Mm.
Yeah, so if that was actually what turned me off, not the course itself. I mean, I could have done very well, but I just couldn't stand blood. And I figured if I went into medicine, I would be a poor doctor if I couldn't stand the sight of blood. So from
Yeah.
high school, I decided I was going to be an engineer. Like I mentioned, whichever direction of engineering was now a different ball game. So actually, when I got admission then in Nigeria, we had what we call concessional exam. You wrote the exam for the university you wanted to go into.
Okay.
In the year following before I went to college, I got admission for chemical engineering. I got admission for geomatics engineering, which was called surveying then. I also got admission for So those were the two engineering disciplines I got admission for, and I settled for one at the end of the day. But by that time, like I mentioned, I was really focused on engineering, nothing more.
Mm. Mm. And engineering is one of those courses anyway. When once you start, it's kind of a very straight line compared to psychology.
Psychology is everywhere.
Everywhere you can
It's
go
actually
anywhere.
psychology. I'm sure there will be psychology for engineering too.
They're probably like the human way of doing like mechanical and how we relate with robots. I'm sure it'll eventually come out. So did you ever think you would end up outside of Nigeria after you started school?
Not in my wildest dream.
Even outside of Ghana? I guess
Not in my wildest dream. I never thought of it. The only ambition I had to do anything outside Nigeria was to go for higher degree outside Nigeria, postgraduate, not because I wanted to go and live abroad, but because I felt I could have some good training there and come back home. Immigrating was not on the radar screen at all. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I just randomly thought to ask that because I was like, yeah, if you even though you wanted to be an engineer, there's so many different paths to.
There are so many places I could work in Nigeria and contribute to
Yeah.
the economy. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Back to childhood. What was your relationship like with your dad?
With my dad. Oh, my
Yeah.
dad was my dad.
What does that mean?
Yes, I'll explain.
Okay.
He was there and I was wherever I was. I mean, he growing up, my very childhood, preteen again,
Yeah.
we were how many children in the house? We were four. Okay, no, we're not four all the time.
Okay.
So we had my other sister, we had myself, then my immediate younger sister before my brother came. So of course,
Okay.
like you would expect, progressively from 2 to 3 to 4. Then
So wait, Mama and what's after Mama?
Mama Oni and Uncle Matthias were in Nigeria.
Oh, they didn't live in Ghana.
No, I didn't grow up with them.
Oh.
Uncle Matthias left Ghana when I was a baby, so I didn't know him.
Oh.
He was in Ghana, but he left
I
before.
thought he lived there.
No,
Oh,
he
you
left.
all left together.
No, he left before I knew that I even had a brother. So that would tell you how young I probably was. Maybe 1 year old.
Oh wow.
Or maybe a few months old. I don't know. Yeah. So I didn't know him. So my dad, I mean, he was a farmer, peasant farmer. So he would go to work. He would go to the farm in the morning and come back in the evening.
Yeah.
Me, I would go to school and come back. We did my homework. He was father, so he provided the fatherly role, which was good. So my relationship with him was good, but he wasn't literate, so we didn't have much in common in terms of, okay, daddy help me with this homework or all of those kind of things that literate parents do. So I did all of those things myself with my sister, with classmates or whatever. But he was there as my father. He was a father figure in the home indeed. And we had a good relationship. We didn't fight much. No, let me not even add much. I think I cast my mind back sometimes. There are not many times my dad actually rebuked me. Yeah, because I was generally a good boy. So there were not many times I crossed his path as my dad. That doesn't mean that he never, excuse me, he never chastised me if I did wrong. But we had a very good relationship.
Okay. What parts of him would you say what parts of his character would you say you emulate or that stand out for you, or that you even emulate in your own style of parenting?
That's a difficult one. I would say that he let me be. Yes, he was not overbearing. So if that has rubbed off on me, maybe it has, because I also try not to be overbearing on my children. I let them be. It doesn't mean that I won't tell them when I think that they are going in the wrong path.
You do.
But my dad, my dad let me be, and it wasn't. Yeah. So I would maybe think that rubbed off on me somehow.
Okay, that's good. I always find it so interesting that there's a story you told of your dad when, I don't know if you still think this is your proudest moment of him or your fun. Do you, if I say what is your funniest or proudest moment of your dad, what comes to mind?
Oh, I can't remember the story I told you and your siblings. Okay. So remind me.
So it's not an old, it's a more recent story. It was closer to when he died.
Closer to when he died?
Yeah.
Oh, fondest now. Two things maybe come to my mind, but that one of them was when you were born. So that is not close enough to when he died. So you may not be thinking about that.
Oh, but I want to hear that story now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But the one that maybe have been closer was when he became a Christian. He gave his life to Christ. And I think we were talking, and he was telling me about all the people who had offended him that he had forgiven. So he was actually a changed person. And yeah, so I remember that with happiness, if I'll put it that way, because then I know that he died in the Lord, and so that gives me a lot of comfort. That's so nice. You want to hear about when you were born? We took you home. Yeah. You were worried, and you were, of course, a baby, maybe less than 3 months old when we took you to go and see him. And he was really very, very happy, held you in his hands and was kissing you. And old man, he was, praise the Lord, he was ecstatic. I mean, you were our first child, and the first grandchild he was getting from me. I was one of his he liked me a lot. I know he liked me a lot because I spent time with him, even though mommy doesn't think I spent enough time with him when I went home. But I think we had a very good relationship. So when we brought you home, he was really, 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 really excited, and he showed it. He couldn't hide it.
Oh.
Yeah, but so that's one. I still remember that quite vividly.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
nice.
So now, what story did I tell you?
The story that actually stands out to me is when someone took him to court.
Okay.
And I can't remember what it was. Someone took him to court. The person who took him to court had a lawyer, and he was a lawyer. And so then it came time for the plaintiff or whoever to start talking. And the lawyer came and started talking for him. And he was like, the person I have a problem with is there. Why is this other person talking on their behalf?
Yeah, I think.
I don't remember if it was you or Uncle Matthias who told that story.
It may have been Uncle Matthias that told us the story, because I didn't go to court with him.
Okay.
But of course, an old man, I mean, he's expecting the person that is the defendant to speak, not somebody he doesn't know. So
the way they used to solve it.
Yes, the way they used to solve their problems. If I have a problem with you and I accuse you, you come and defend yourself. Why would somebody be talking for you when you are sitting down there?
Yeah, I can imagine that story. So that's that always stands out for me.
Okay.
An interesting one to know that he was very excited when I was born.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. So more about you as a parent. So a lot of people always say that you don't know what to expect till you have a child. Like you always have these impressions of what it's like to have a child, and then all of a sudden your life will just turn around. How did yours change? Because I was your first child. How did yours change when I came around?
When you were born or when you were growing up?
When I was born.
When you were born, okay.
What kinds of huge differences changed that maybe you didn't expect?
Well, maybe I slept less.
Maybe.
Okay. I mean, definitely slept less because you liked food a lot. So
I still do.
You still do. Maybe I don't know whether you do as much as you did when you were a baby. So of course, when you were hungry, nothing would pacify you unless you got food. And I had a special way of also making you comfortable. So, and of course, mommy said, well, I had spoiled you because I was always rocking you in a particular way. She didn't have the strength for that kind of exercise. So when you start making all those your noises, I have to carry you whatever time of day it is, whether it's at night or whatever. So indeed, I slept less, but thank God, mommy was I had taken her maternity leave also from her place of work, so she had plenty of time to spend. So I didn't have to leave work to come. I mean, unfortunately, in Nigeria, we don't have paternity leave that we have here. So if you have a child, you still have to go to work.
Yeah.
I went to work, normally came back and took part in whatever I needed to do to help mommy to look after you. So apart from not really sleeping as much as I used to, or having, I wouldn't call it disturbances, because then, I mean, you have a baby, so you're happy, even when the baby is crying, you're happy that you're able to make the baby keep quiet. So discomfort, but it's a pleasurable discomfort. So for me, if you talk about huge change, now I won't say there was, because I mean, mommy and I were already very, very, very pally at that time, and we helped each other along the way.
That's good. Did me being, because especially in places like in Nigeria, well, I don't think you guys, I think you found out Ruvier's gender before he was born, or Ruvier's sex before he was born, but the rest, but Kwame and I, you didn't find out our sex before we were born, right?
None of them.
Oh, none? Oh, I thought you found it before he was born. Okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
The doctor knew. Then she asked mommy if mommy would like to know. Mommy said no. She wanted the surprise. So she also didn't know.
Oh, okay. I thought you found out Ruvia's. Okay.
No. I was always told the sex of the baby after the baby was born.
After the baby was born. Yeah, I heard you got it wrong for Kome.
Yes, was it for Kome or for Ruby? Even one of them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I can't remember whether it's for Kome or Ruby. I mean, because then I was not in the labor ward, so I had dropped mommy off and gone back home, and I got called. Oh, congratulations, you have a baby. So mommy was on the phone. So I asked mommy, what sex is it? She said, guess. Me, I heard girl. And I'm not sure I talked much more after that. I dropped the phone and I announced to everybody that I had another baby girl with all the excitement. Later, mommy said, no, she didn't tell me girl, she told me boy. So I had to call the people back to say, sorry, I gave you the wrong information. That it's a boy, and yeah, you were already there then. So I think it was Kome.
Maybe it was Kome, yeah.
Maybe it was Kome, yes.
Yeah, but did having a daughter, because in places like Nigeria, where your sex or your gender role is very, very important, what kinds of things did having a daughter matter? Any of that?
For me, zero. It didn't matter to me at all, because I think I knew enough that the sex of a child is a combination of whatever the father and mother bring into the cell. So it didn't matter to me whether it was a girl or a boy. I actually had heard that if you have a girl first, it helps the family stability. So I really didn't mind having a girl first. But then I desired to have both sons and daughters, or girls and boys, or whatever. But it didn't matter to me which one came first. And they're all children, and they all play their roles.
Yeah, very true. How did mommy tell you she was pregnant? For me,
she didn't know.
Yeah, because she wasn't expecting to be able to have children, right?
Yes. So before we got married, that was the medical report we had, that it was going to be difficult for her to get pregnant. We still believed God and said, well, we'll go ahead. We believe God had brought us together. So we went ahead anyway. And as God will have it, within the first 3 months, she was pregnant. She didn't know. I didn't know too. Both of us were novices. So we went to the hospital to
She's in the back crawling. I can see you.
Crawling because she doesn't want you to see her.
Oh, Mama.
Hi. Yuppie, how are you?
Fine. How are you, Digwa?
Very good.
So she went to the hospital and she was on admission. Her temperature wasn't coming down. The matron was so good. They didn't want to start pumping her with all kinds of medication. The doctors were watching her.
Yeah.
And they refused to. They were just managing the temperature and trying to make it a bit comfortable for her. Then eventually, I think the matron said, "Look, this young lady might be pregnant and she doesn't know." So that's when they did a test later and realized that it was actually pregnancy, not just malaria or whatever. And thank God they had not started treating her for malaria, because we don't know what would have happened to you.
Yeah. Wow.
So those were days when people knew their onions. That's how we knew that she was pregnant. Other than that, we just thought she was just sick.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So no big gender reveal, nothing.
No big gender review.
None of that. Okay.
No.
How did you choose my name?
Oh, okay. I think it was mommy that chose it actually.
Okay.
Even later, Nisoko name. I mean, we came together as husband and wife, bound by love, the love of God, and mommy actually wanted to establish that fact, and asked for what the love of God is in Isoko, and so love of God is Yoyo, and that's how your name was chosen.
Not very. Is it a common name? Because
Yoyo is fairly common, because love is something which is common. It's more of a female name. I know of a boy a male who is Yoyo, but most Yoyo that I know, not too many actually. I probably can count them on my fingertips. I don't think there are so many, but because love is involved, people like to associate with love.
Yeah, gotcha. When what's a funny memory you have of me as a child?
I don't know whether to call it funny, but you gave us a scare.
I did.
Yes, one nice day like that.
Nice day. Any story that starts with one nice day means that the story is going down.
It was at night, actually. I think you were eating. I think it was mommy that was feeding you. I don't think it was me. I can't remember now. I mean, this is many years ago. And all of a sudden, you started choking. And it was at night. And then we lived about maybe 15 minutes away from the shared clinic where you were born, and which was our clinic. On a normal day, yeah, let's say 20 minutes. But of course, if there's traffic, it could be longer than that. But it was at night anyway, so going there wasn't too difficult.
Yeah.
And we did everything we could, and you were actually choking and almost dying in our hands. So we just jumped into the car that night. It may have been around midnight or whatever time it was, and headed straight to the clinic through town to go see the doctors. And as we were going on the way, you slept off. Mommy said, no, you must wake up.
I'm finished choking, thank you.
Yeah, you stopped choking and you just slept off nicely. And yeah, we were rushing you to the hospital, and well, we still got to the hospital, and of course there was nothing wrong with you, and we went back home. So it was both funny and scary because you were having fun with us, if I put it that way. And yeah, but that's one moment that I remember, and we talk about it from time to time.
That's when you knew you had a drama queen in your hands.
A what?
Drama queen.
Drama queen. Well, okay, that's how you describe it. That you give us some scare, but it was good that it ended well. So it was one beautiful day.
Oh, that's cute. That's funny.
Then yeah. There was one. I think this was in Oman or what? No, it's still in Warri. Yeah, you were playing with a pencil. You know, this pencil that have erasers at the end.
Oh, I know what story you're about to tell.
You know that story, okay?
You can go. You can
continue. You know? And you inserted this eraser in your nose, and the thing wouldn't come out. And that was another scare. And I think we started rushing to the hospital again. I can't remember the details of that. If you ask mommy, she will know better. But
I think I actually remember because Komila Sisi,
yes,
up last year or 2 years ago, she's like, I remember when you got a pencil in your nose, and my mom, because I don't think you guys were home. So my parents had to take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
It was stuck in my nose. Yeah. So it wasn't until I got there. Yeah. They're like, if you don't blow it out of your nose, we'll cut your nose open.
We'll cut your nose, and you started crying.
Get it out. Get it out now. Yeah. I really liked testing the medical system to make sure it was still working.
Yeah, thank you very much. Don't tell the thing too much.
Yeah, do you actually remember? Okay, this is just another side story. Do you remember when we first moved to Oman, and for some reason, you guys decided that you would go shopping, you were sleeping, and didn't tell anybody? Just left the three of us in a new country. New country, what? 2 weeks into being in this new country, and left your three children to sleep at home.
I remember that, but it's not because
I want to hear the explanation.
Going. I think I had gone to work.
Oh, okay.
Right? It was mommy that went to the shop, and I'm sure mommy told you she was going to the shop.
But I was sleeping.
No, I don't think mommy would just disappear from the house without letting you know. And there you were. You had gathered your brothers as a pressure group at the window. Poor mommy had gone to shop so that you people would be comfortable. And then she comes back home, and you are at the window with your with your group crying and everything. And I think that was when she decided she won't do that again. Because it was very embarrassing. Thank God the police was not called.
I was just thinking that. I was like, man,
yeah, so
this was in North America, they would have arrested you.
That was one very funny. You were the leader of that gang that was at the window crying.
Yeah, we were new. You were new.
You were new, yes. You were new, but I'm sure she didn't abandon you.
Felt like it. So where do you get parent? Because I know that like even with like I was saying, in different countries, there are different ways where they'll see like in Nigeria if they leave, well they probably won't leave you at home. But where do you get parenting advice? Because sometimes parenting stuff changes all the time. All the different people and their advice on what parenting looks like. Where do you get your advice, or how do you determine what kind of?
I think much of my parenting advice comes from the Bible.
Mm.
Yes, before I became a parent, and now that I'm a parent, and also from other mature Christians who also have children. Because at the end of the day, this world is a very dangerous place. Nobody has passed through it before who is back here. So every day is new for all of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And the Bible has a lot of lessons, a lot of guidance on how we should bring up our children and what we should do with them. We probably have also read some other books on parenting. I can't remember anyone, but I know that we've had discussions with other parents, maybe in fellowship or that kind of thing, to share ideas together on how to do some things and know how to on how to improve on whatever we're doing. But ultimately, I think the injunctions of the Bible have shaped a lot of what we do and our parenting style and the things we do generally.
Got it. That's cool. Yeah, because I know that there's just so much that changes all the time about like, should you do this? Should you not do this? Should you do that? Should you not do Wonder where people get their advice from.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the world is becoming more and more liberal, and what is called morality is defined differently in different places. And that's why we still work with the Bible, because then it doesn't change. So from generation to generation, the particular methods may change a bit and the way some things are done, but the very basic thing normally doesn't change. So
but do you think being a liberal parent is bad?
No. So when I'm talking about being liberal, liberality is just anything goes. It doesn't help. No child is wise enough to navigate this world correctly. Even as adults,
some guidance.
You need some guidance. But sometimes when the world, because of liberality, they throw away guidance and say, well, if you guide the child, if you talk hard to the child, you make the child lose his self-esteem, and it's all liberal deceit. So I have to be very firm on that. It's all liberal deceit, and there's no child who gets proper training and who gets proper upbringing that regrets it, except the child that decides to be wayward. But there are children who, because they didn't get the proper upbringing, they regret later that they wish they had a stronger hand that guided them through life. They would have been better than they are right now.
There's a fine line though, because I hear some people who also say the Bible, but the way they treat their children is not biblical. So the fine understanding of what's also liberal versus what's conservative, because like you were saying earlier, like there's also the importance of letting them be their own people and make their own decisions. Some people think they need to make every decision for their child too. So
no, of course that shouldn't be.
I'm not a parent. Yeah.
No, that shouldn't be. I mean, this is part of learning parenting. We didn't learn parenting when we became parents.
That's true. You learn before.
You learn as you go, and you also learn from the experiences you have as well as a child. But indeed, people give different interpretations. But back to the Bible again, the Bible also clearly said that we should not exasperate our children. It's in the Bible. So when it says we shouldn't provoke them, we shouldn't provoke our children. So that one is being conservative doesn't mean that you put your foot down on everything. A child also has to be a child. Let the child grow as a child. You just provide the guidance and let God do the rest in the child's life.
Yep. Okay. How would you describe our relationship, yours and mine?
I would say it's very good. I mean, that's the simplest way I can put it. I don't have any other way of describing it. You are respectful. You can have your own strong views. So I would say that as well. You can have your own strong views, and then you try to insist on those. But as a father, also I try to also say what I also feel strongly about. And when you begin to do your why, and because you don't want to accept
It's because I want to know why.
because you don't want to accept something. It's not every time that the parent should explain why to a child. It's not every time. There are some things whys don't solve. There are also sometimes that a child should just say, okay, well, because it's my parent, okay, I'll accept it, not because I'm convinced, in as much as it doesn't do harm to you. Yeah, sometimes it's just good to go along there. But relationship with you has been good. No negative thing. Like I said, apart from, of course, you would make your own why and all of that, and you can be a bit strong on some things you believe in. But that's why we are different, because when I say you are strong about some things you believe in, you are also probably thinking that is too strong on this particular thing. So that's why we're different human beings. So we would always see things differently from different lenses.
Yeah, but even when we see differently, I think we communicate very respectfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed. Even if there are tears involved, we still communicate.
Yeah, we still communicate. So.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
Maybe not. What would you think is your own view of the relationship as well?
I think I would consider my relationship with you as open. And sometimes, at least if I think about, especially like some of my friends who are Nigerian and the relationships they have with their dads, because again, in Nigeria, the father is the head of the house. He's the father figure. He's just present. He's present as in, I exist in this house. And sometimes he's not present as in, I exist in guiding my children, or you used to play with us all the time. Like I always talk about how like, you really went out of your way to be a father or a dad, beyond just like, I'm a father who's contributed to your genetic makeup. Like if I think about my birthdays, like doing scavenger hunts or really being involved, I think that you're very involved, and that's also made our relationship. It doesn't feel weird for me to call you if I have a question about my job or if I'm just like, should I negotiate this?
Yeah.
Like, at some point, people will be like, well, I'm grown. I shouldn't be calling my parents about this, but I feel comfortable still calling you about that because involved all the time. So it feels to me like we have a relationship that's also friendly, not just like he's my dad, but you're also my friend. Like I think you're funny.
Okay.
I don't always know you're funny, but I think you're funny in general. So I think like there are a lot of characteristics about you that I really value too. I always say like I like a lot of your characteristics. So whether like not just like as a man or a father, you just have very genuine characteristics. So I think that the reason I can say that is because we have a relationship, and it's not just like you existed, you provided, you also provided like time and all those things.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's been good all along actually. As you were talking, I remember something that happened in Oman. You were probably how old then? Maybe up to 8. I can't remember now, but you used to sleep in the living room just before maybe
like
just before bedtime. Yeah, just before bedtime. Well, not necessarily every day.
Yeah.
And okay, so your bedrooms, you children's bedrooms and ours were on the next floor, and generally the smaller ones, maybe they sleep and I probably carry them to their bed. You were bigger, and I think you enjoyed being carried to your bed. So so mommy would say, look, this girl is not a small girl anymore. You're also not growing younger as a father, so don't break your waist.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed that chore, if you will call it that way. And there was this particular, I didn't know that you were faking sleep. And I was carrying you upstairs, and of course, your head was on my shoulder. And I think mommy saw you, if I recall well. Your eyes were open also, and you were smiling. You were just enjoying the fact that I was carrying you upstairs to go and put you in your bed. And I don't know whether that was the last day I did it or whatever.
You're like, so this is what you've been doing. Get up, walk up to your bed.
Okay, so this girl is, yeah, but I mean, I didn't mind it. I mean,
yeah,
it was pleasurable to do that.
Yeah, even helping me detangle my hair. Just very little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
very little things here and there.
Mm.
Do you think you'll cry on my wedding day?
But I'll cry. No, I
Yeah.
won't cry.
Remember Ossie's dad also said he won't cry.
Okay, well,
He used.
I,
Remember, I have this
I
recorded.
will not cry. Have it recorded. I will not cry.
Well, you say that now. The first day you dropped me off at school as a child, you almost.
No, that was. I mean, how old were you? You were just 1 year old,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's different from.
It's different.
Yes, it's different. I mean, you were a little baby that were going to drop in school out of necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really didn't want you to go to school at 1.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted you to be a baby and actually enjoy babyhood at home.
Yeah.
But the house help that we had suddenly left, and mommy had to go to work.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had any childcare close by. And even if we did, maybe we would not have wanted to do that. So there was a school which was only maybe 2 minutes away from where we lived. I mean, within the estate. So yeah, we'll take you there. In fact, it was not even our idea. I think it was Lulu's mommy again.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because then because we didn't think you should go to school at 1. But then they said, okay, they will test you in school, and you went for an interview. if I will call it an interview. And because they don't take children who cannot feed themselves.
Mm.
So yeah, so at age 1, I think they gave you biscuit, and you sat down there and you were feeding yourself. The teacher said, okay, well, if you can feed yourself, they will take you. So that was how you were admitted.
Based on food.
Yeah. And taking you to school the first day was very emotional for me. I don't think that was so it's different from you getting married. Getting married is a day of joy. I'm not going to cry to forget it.
Okay, remember this moment.
Yeah, remind me. Yes.
I'll remind you.
Yes.
Speaking of marriage, what do you think is important for me to know about love and marriage?
Respect, friendship.
Tell me more.
More
what you mean by that?
Okay, so if you marry your friend, you are more easily and readily in a position to forgive and to overlook things, because you would definitely offend each other in the course of your marriage. There are many things you will do, some small, some big, some not consequential. They may not be consequential to you, but they are consequential to the other person.
Right.
So, but if you are friends, then it helps. So friendship actually is one of the bedrocks, I would say. But over and above all of these, oneness in faith. Because in marriage, I mean, just like I said a short while ago, there will be many things that may not go as you want them to go, because you are different human beings, you will cause offense. But if you have the same faith, we are Christians, so now we'll be referring to the Christian faith. You both of you are Christians, then you believe the same Bible that I referred to earlier when I was talking about bringing up the children. So you are actually both thinking from the same songbook. So you are not thinking in different directions, and you can both go to pray when things are difficult in the home. There could be financial difficulties. There could be anything, any kind of difficulty. You can both go to God to pray because you believe in the same God and you have the same faith. Otherwise, you'll be pulling in one direction and your spouse is pulling in another direction. It doesn't help the family at all. So friendship, faith, and mutual respect. Those I will call, those are 3 main things that should actually guide one in deciding on who to marry or what marriage should be like. Other things are additions. I mean, all of us would like to have children, but there are people who are madly in love who don't have children. It's not their making. And there are those who are fighting every day and they're having children. Yeah, so yeah, but those children, the scripture tells us they are a gift from God. And if it's a gift, nobody earns a gift.
Right.
And then if both of you are singing from the same songbook, which is the Bible that I mentioned earlier, then when there is no money at home, both of you are able to manage things together because you know that, well, you should not go and steal or you should not go and do things that you should not do because one of you is trying to bring money by all means and do whatever. So, yeah, maybe those are the ones that jump at me immediately.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to always tell me more if you want.
Of course.
Or not. 2 more questions.
Okay.
What are you most looking forward to over the next 10 years?
10 years?
Yeah.
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren. Good thing you have 2 boys getting married next year.
Grandchildren. In fact, I'm waiting impatiently. So even if you wake me up from sleep, I can answer that question very nicely.
So that one's not 10 years. You want that in the next 3 or 4, right?
Yes, in fact, yesterday.
Tell the boys.
Well, you're number one, so I should tell you first.
Good to know. That's a wish.
Okay.
I will take it into consideration.
All right.
Final question. You don't have to tell the boys. I'm your favorite child, right?
You wish. That what they think. They
always say that.
They say that, but I think they are wrong.
I agree.
You agree that they are wrong, right?
I agree that they're wrong. We all have different relationships.
Yes, you all have different relationships with me. They somehow they just feel that Yoyo is my favorite child. They've said it many times, but we try to tell them no, that's not true, but they don't believe. So, they have their reasons for thinking so. I tell them a girl child is different from a boy child. So the girl child requires some attention that the girl child doesn't need, the boy child doesn't need. So they think when you get that kind of attention, it's because you're favorite. I tell them it's not because you're favorite, because of your gender. And I mean, you are 2 different genders and should be treated.
Like what kind of attention?
Attention. I mean, you probably call anytime or whatever. They don't talk much as well.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I say to them, well, I mean, as a girl child, or I say that maybe for your wedding you will need more support than they who are boys. Say no, now there I go again. They said you are my favorite child, but say no, but this young lady is working in Vancouver by herself. She pays her rent. You don't pay rent or whatever. You're earning plenty of money. She's looking after her. So there are things, and for a girl, a boy can decide not to have anything in his wardrobe. He has 4 shirts, and that's it. So, and that's different. So if he has 4 shirts and it's fine, a girl probably needs 10. So if you buy 10 dresses for the girl, it's not because she's favorite, but because the girl needs more clothes than the boy needs. So those are things that. So sometimes you do those things and say, no, okay, why are you giving her $10 pocket money and you're giving us 5?
But also, I remember you used to give me those because of other products that
yes
have to buy.
Yes, that they don't buy, but they don't see it that way. So look, hang on, if I'm giving you $10 and I give you $15, it's not because she's my favorite child, it's because she's a girl and there are things she buys that you don't buy.
Yeah.
So.
And they're not cheap.
And they're not cheap, yes.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, if they feel like I'm your favorite, that's fine. I will take the wedding support. I will take the support. But I also like that you raised me to be independent and be able to take care of myself.
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing of pride for me, is that I'm able to most times take care of myself.
Which is good. I mean, that would be our pleasure, and that's our ultimate goal. We don't want any of the 3 of you to be depending on us ad infinitum. We would provide the baseline, and you should run with it and be as independent as possible. But that does not mean that you cannot also ask your brothers for advice, or they cannot ask you for advice. Where we all see things from different angles sometimes. Sometimes the angle you are seeing it from may be wrong, and you need some other person who is seeing it more dispassionately to say, yeah, hang on, have you looked at it from this point of view? And that brings some correction.
Yeah.
So much as we are independent, we are still dependent.
Yeah.
So we are independently dependent on one another.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Questions? Do you have any questions?
No. So when are you having your next podcast?
Great question. I don't know. I'll listen to this one and see if it was nice enough.
Okay.
Being my tester.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yeah, but it was a very pleasurable conversation.
It was. You said minimum 20 minutes. I
I
think we
did. My
spent.
bad.
No,
This
no,
took
you
a
said
longer
minimum. So
time.
no, you did
Okay.
say maximum, which is good. So
Okay.
minimum 20, maximum could be 2 hours. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, so you are
Enjoyed the
you are still
conversation.
within the time.
I enjoyed it. That's fun.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
So